We're moving. I have been really excited to make this video, and this was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to start YouTube in the first place, because I love watching apartment hunting videos. I don't know if it's just me, I'm sure some of you guys do too, but I'm finally getting to post an apartment hunting videos. I'm super excited. And then also at the end of this video is the reveal of the final apartment that we ended up choosing, as well as a tour of that one. So really excited to show you. My roommate and I have been living in Arizona for a little over a month now, and luckily we've got to stay at my roommate's relative's house while we're just kind of getting on our feet and then searching for a unit. And the time has come. We actually move next week, which is so crazy to even think about. It's both of our first apartments because during school we've just lived on campus and then lived at home during the summer, so neither of us have ever had an apartment before, which is just really cool and exciting that we get to decorate the space to our liking and kind of do whatever we want with it. So some things we were considering when we were looking at which units to tour and then looking for apartments in general, our budget was $1,300 to $1,400 a month, including additional fees, just because we are starting off first careers and we don't have money to spend on a really nice apartment at this time. Kind of going into this thing we were talking about, just kind of settling for a decent one that is at least safe and we're happy with for the first 6 months or the first year, and then when we had more income than we do currently, we would find a better unit that we really liked. But also on top of that, circumstances change. I could go to law school in a different state, my roommate could get a job in another state, or we could decide not to live with each other, which hopefully isn't the case. I think we probably will be. We also wanted in-unit laundry if we could find an apartment like this. We didn't really have a problem with doing our laundry in a separate building, but just for convenience reasons, having in-unit laundry is always a bonus to have in your living space. Next, we absolutely needed AC. That was a non-negotiable for us just because it is so hot here, especially in the summer. We were also looking for a 2-bedroom unit because there is 2 of us, but we were kind of okay with either 1 bathroom or 2 bathrooms. We also wanted a unit that had good natural lighting. It is so sunny here. It is sunny pretty much every day of the year, and we wanted to capitalize on that, have a little bit of natural lighting, a little bit of sunshine, so we didn't feel like we were living in a dark and decrepit hole. We also wanted a unit that was relatively quiet, and so like no thin walls if we could get around it, because you don't really know the people that you're living next to. You're not sure if they're people who stay up late, make noise late, and because I have to get up early for work and be at the office at 8 a.m., I didn't want an apartment that was loud and kept me up at night. And finally, if we could get it, we also wanted covered parking in the parking lot. We were okay whether this was free or whether we had to pay for it as part of the unit package, but just again, because it is so hot here and you could probably boil an egg on your dashboard, having covered parking is so nice because we wouldn't have garage space anymore. So now getting into the tours. All of the units that we ended up touring were 2-bed, 2-bath, but again, we were fine settling for a 1-bathroom unit. This was just what they had to show us at the time. So keep that in mind because we ended up going for a unit that had only 1 bathroom. So the ones that I'm going to be showing you guys, none of these units are ones that we went for, but we're all really good and we liked honestly all of them. It just came down to being picky at the end and considering our price point. The first 2 units that we toured were on the west side of Tucson, close to a mountain, and we toured these units an hour apart. So the first unit was $1,267 a month, but with additional fees, it was about 1.4, I think, all in, which was at the top point of our budget, so we kept that in mind. But this unit was honestly really nice. It was super quiet. It had very good lighting in the unit. We liked the 2-bedroom, 2-bath. The bathrooms were nice. The bedrooms were really good size. We really liked the updated appliances that this unit had. And overall, the vibe of this place was just really good. We were happy with everything that we saw. It also had hardwood floors, so that was nice that we could consider decorating with a rug. But yeah, no, there was really no red flags about this apartment. The only reason we didn't end up getting it in the end was that it was a commute to work for me, and also it was at the top of our budget. And before we had toured the other places, we were hoping that we could find one a little bit cheaper that still had all the amenities and everything that we wanted. This unit also had a really nice gym, it had free covered parking, and it pretty much had everything at the end of the day that we wanted. The next apartment that we toured an hour later was $13.93 a month, but with additional costs and fees, it was closer to 1.5, which was above our price point. So going into this and knowing that we knew that we weren't going to get this one in the end, but it was still really fun to look at, and it was probably the nicest unit that we saw. So I understood why the price was the way it was, and maybe something to come back to when our budget is a little bit higher. This apartment was absolutely stunning, and I think it was a really good price for 1.5 at the end of the day. It had a really nice pool, it had a really cute gym. The lighting in this apartment was absolutely stunning. It was so bright in every room, regardless of whether the lights were turned on or off, because it had some like south-facing and west-facing windows, which were a big bonus to this place. It also had in-unit laundry, and the machines were also updated. They were super nice. The kitchen was updated. It had an island, guys, and on top of that, it had a pretty good sized balcony, which was also something that we were like, maybe we should stretch our budget a little bit because this place is really, really nice. But then again, it was close to the other apartment in that it was a commute to work, and the budget at the end of the day, we decided to stick with it and we would find another place. The third apartment that we toured was more on the north side of Tucson, and this apartment was for $1,172 a month, and with additional costs and fees, it was mid 1.2. This apartment was a little bit darker, but honestly had a lot of personality and was also the biggest unit that we saw overall. We really liked how this place had a really big mirror outside of the bathroom, which is a great getting ready spot for both of us. We're both girls, we both do our makeup, we both do our hair, and it was just something that was really, really nice. This unit also had really big closets, which was awesome. The bedrooms were also a really good size. The only downside to this apartment really was the kind of old kitchen. Although the kitchen had a lot of personality, we liked the color of the wood, we liked the vibe of the kitchen all around. It did have outdated appliances, which were something that we questioned a little bit, but then again, we basically lived in a frat house with our two other best friends our senior year of college, and those appliances were more outdated than this. We knew we could work around it and that we've done it before in the past, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was something that we were thinking about after leaving this place. Finally, the fourth unit that we toured, which was in Oro Valley, was kind of cute, but the walls walking in, which we realized immediately, were painted gray, and I think that gave it more of a darker feel and also more, maybe a little bit of a more masculinized feel that we thought just made the apartment a little bit like dark and gloomy. This apartment was also 1.2 a month, and then with additional costs and fees, it came closer to 1.4, which again was at the top of our budget. But the amenities of this place were really nice. It had two different pools. It had a dog park. We don't have a dog, but if you have a dog, this might be the one for you. It had a nice kitchen. It had a big closet. The only problems for this place was that both of the bathrooms were pretty small. They were really small. And yeah, the windows were mostly north facing, so this place was just kind of too dark, so we did not go with this one either. But all the apartment units that we toured were super, super nice, and we enjoyed exploring them at the end of the day. It was super fun to go on some tours. But yeah, and so I will give you guys the final reveal once we get the keys to the new place. This is the apartment. So this is the end of this video, but I'm going to be doing a little bit of an apartment series where I make a little move-in vlog, a little decorating the apartment vlog, because as you guys can see, there's nothing here. It's completely empty. I don't even have a mattress yet. So that's all for now, but I will see you guys next time.